today's video, I am going to show you how to create something useful out of this unwanted denim. I had been wanting to sew my own bag for a while now. Today I decided to take the plunge and see where it leads me. Now I am going to cut all the bag details. And if you want your own bag patterns, I posted it on my Facebook page. So Aldo, it's on the photo section, so just browse and get it from there. And I will do the same for the lining and the heavy duty iron-on interfacing. Seriously, this fabric is super thick like cardboard. I was wondering how my husband wear this for a long time. It was really stiff. And you guys, I have 5 more pair of jeans and they look exactly the same. So I'm still looking for ideas on what to do with those. Now I am cutting out the gusset, and you will do the same thing for the lining and the fusible interfacing. Now I am cutting out the zipper flaps, so I place the pattern on fold and I'm going to cut it, and then I'm going to cut it in half. Cutting the D-ring tab, so I place the pattern on fold, then cut it out. I will need 2 pieces of this. Now I am cutting the bag strap, and I made a mistake here. This piece is actually on a bias, so when I sew it, it was stretching. But really, I just don't have any choice because this is the longest piece I need. To prevent it from twisting, you can add fusible interfacing. You can also stitch a contrasting stitching. One is going up and then the other one is going down. I learned that from my sewing community here on Facebook, so thank you so much, you guys. Luckily, I was able to fix it by steaming it. Yay! And these are all the details for the bag. I don't have the lining and the fusible interfacing included. The only pieces you will need it is for the front and back of the bag and the gusset. Now let's move on to my favorite part, is sewing. The zipper I use is 10.5 inches long. So I'm going to place it on the right side. So I'm just marking my 1/2 inch seam allowance on each end. The correct sides of the fabric and the zipper are facing each other. I will be using this type of zipper foot so I can get close to the zipper teeth as possible. And as you can see here, as I get closer to the end, I just kind of lift up the presser foot and close the zipper so I can reach the other end. Basically, I'm going to do a mirror image of the other side, so I place the zipper on the edge of the zipper flap and pin it to secure. I didn't add lining or fusible interfacing for this because the fabric is super thick already. And then I will stitch along the edge just like I did earlier. And I zigzag stitch the edges. You can use your overlocker or serger, but I decided not to do that so I can show you that you don't have to have a serger to do this project. Just want to make sure that the fabric doesn't fray, because if pieces of fabric can get in the zipper teeth, it might ruin the zipper. Next, it's time to top stitch it right along the edge just to make the flap nice and flat. Or I truly enjoyed constructing the zipper part just because it is super satisfying for some reason. Next, it's time to construct the D-ring tabs. So first, I fold it like this and stitch along the edge. After that, I am going to insert the D-ring and stitch along here to secure it. This is the moment that I am questioning this bit because the fabric is super thick. My machine was already struggling and yelling at me. And by the time I construct the bag, there will be like 6 layers of fabric. So this moment here, I was trying to figure out, other fabrics or materials I can use for the D-ring tab. Then I realized I have this old denim belt that I don't use, and it's the exact same measurements, and I used it instead. The material is actually chambray denim, so it doesn't quite match, but it will do. Place them on the ends of the zipper flap, and I did 2 rows of stitching just to be extra sure that the straps are going to hold because I plan on using this bag and I put a lot of stuff in my bag. After I've used the interfacing to the gusset, it's time to attach it to the zipper flap. So I match the right sides of the fabrics and stitch along the ends. You can also add lining to the gusset if you want to. I also zigzag stitch the edges just to make it nice and neat. Going to cut out the lining pieces for the front and back of the bag and also interfacing. Now I have 3 layers of materials in here and I just stitch it to secure. I also mark the center folds. For extra detail, I am going to top stitch these pieces on the front of the bag. Now it's time to add the front piece to the gusset. Match the center fold of the front piece to the side seam of the gusset. And I'm just going to kind of quarter it first, then pin all the way around. Then I am going to sew it in the round using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Sewing this part took me about 7 minutes because I was going really slow because this is on a curve. So there is a strategy to this so you will not end up with puckering seams. So what you will do is you are going to ease the circle fabric to the gusset. I'm also sewing on the curve. Don't sew straight because you will run out of material. As I was sewing, I am easing in the circle fabric to the gusset. It's kind of hard to see it because my hand is blocking it while I was easing in the circle fabric. I will show you that on the sewing table so I can explain it better. Basically, I am creating little waves on the circle fabric and sewing over it. I am not sewing it flat because I will run out of fabric if I do that. Just be sure to take your time and sew very slowly. To trim the seam allowance just a little bit, then I'm going to grade it. Grade it by cutting a little notch along the seam allowance. I'm going to repeat the same thing that I did earlier to the back panel. Open the zipper before you stitch it. Now I'm going to explain how to ease it. As you can see, these little ruffles right here, you're going to sew over that. Don't try to flatten it, okay? So just sew over the waves. Be sure it's not folded because if you do, once you turn it around, there's going to be little pleats and that's not what we're going for. Then I trim off the fabric a little bit just to clean it up, and then I'm going to grade it just like I did on the front side. I also zigzag stitch the edges so it is nice and neat. Now it's time to turn it correct side out. And this is what it should look like. As you can see, there are no wrinkles or puckering on the seams. It looks pretty. I am obsessed already. Let's create the strap. I fold it like this and fold it one more time, and then I'm going to stitch all the way around. Then I'm going to slide it in and stitch to secure. This is what the inside of the bag looks like. I'm really pleased with that. The lining makes it super nice and clean. The zipper closes really smoothly. You can also use a bag strap. So I have this one here. I bought this from Amazon. Let me know which straps looks better. If you find this tutorial helpful, don't forget to follow, likes, and share. And if you are watching from my YouTube channel, I hope you will subscribe. I will see you in the next one. Bye!